Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Good afternoon, everyone. Are you guys excited to be here? Awesome. My name is Jessica, and I'm going to introduce you to, of course, our guest of honor. He has done many things, one of the things being his random acts of kindness. Yeah. And also, have you guys ever done one of his scavenger hunts?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're here at the Hillary House where we're telling everybody we are making history here in Georgia. We are going to turn Georgia blue, one voter at a time. Can I get a show of hands? Who has already voted? Yes. We need more hands. We have polls open every day for you guys to vote, especially this weekend. You guys get out there and make sure your vote does count. We are going to turn Georgia blue. Can I hear everybody say Hillary? Hillary! 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 I'm going to turn it over now to Misha Collins, and he's going to tell you guys what he has going on today.
Hi guys. Is this actually working?
Yeah. Yes.
Hi. Well, thanks for being here. You can actually vote today if you want. So when you leave here, find your polling place and go vote. Next Saturday is what?
Statewide voting. Mandatory statewide voting.
Statewide mandatory voting. I'm not sure what that means, but I think it sounds like you have to vote by next Saturday. So get out there and vote. Early voting is really helpful. It frees up your time so that on November 8th, you can escort your friends to the polling places and not have to worry about voting yourself. Get it done. Get it over. We're here at the offices. If you want, when we're done here, you can just come in and sign up to be a volunteer. They need lots of help. Georgia is super important, you guys. So make as big of an impact as you possibly can. And this is a great place to start. Anybody have any questions or comments or criticisms, complaints? Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about too? Like, I feel like there's a dissatisfaction has come up a lot with this election, both on those who are Trump supporters and also those who are saying that they're just not going to vote at all. And I think that there's a lot that we can do. You're sort of dissatisfied with the larger system. There's a lot that we can do. People are not focused enough also on not just voting every 4 years, but voting in their local, county, and state. There's a lot of things we can do about incarceration, police contracts, things like that that are really important. And I feel like that maybe gets lost sometimes.
I think it's a very so her question is about general voter dissatisfaction and apathy. A lot of people say things like, I don't want either of the candidates who are on the ticket this year, or I think the whole system is so flawed that I'm not going to vote at all. That is I think a kind of lazy mentality. I think it's also a dangerous mentality, because the truth is we do have a government, and that government is spending huge amounts of our money. It's also making rules that we have to obey. It's sending our soldiers into conflicts. It's making really, really, really important decisions on our behalf. And if you abdicate, if you don't vote, you're just choosing to give your vote to someone else. Your voice is not going to be heard, and you're going to be saddled with laws and wars that don't serve your interests. Because there are a lot of people who will vote, and a lot of those people are people who support divisive rhetoric and laws that incarcerate too many people or limit the rights of certain minority groups. And I think that it's very, very important that we not give those things away, give those decisions to other people. We have to become informed citizens, and then we have to vote. And the notion that you're not happy with either candidate, so you're not going to vote for anyone, is just, I find that absurd, because they are too radically, I mean, in terms of the presidential contest, we have two radically different options. And for anyone to say that they are equal in their repugnance is completely nonsensical. They have very issue. Even if you don't happen to be fired up about the presidential contest, which I find hard to believe, there are lots and lots of state and local issues in every jurisdiction that are being voted on. Things that will impact your local representatives, things that will determine, how the House and Senate go in this election. There'll also decisions about, bond measures for your local school district that will both affect your wallet and your schools. So people should be voting on all of these issues and paying attention to what's going on. Yes?
How do you respond to people who criticize you for using your celebrity for politics?
People criticize me for using my celebrity for politics all the time, and I criticize celebrities for using their celebrity for politics. So I totally get it. I think that the notion that somebody should be listened to on policy issues just because they happen to be on a television show on the CW doesn't hold a lot of water for me. But I happen to take pride in the fact that I am pretty well informed on a lot of issues. I also did intern in the Clinton administration White House when I was a toddler. And so I feel like my perspective might have a couple grains more legitimacy than some celebrities. That said, I also think that in this particular election, we're at a little bit of a tipping point. I think that we're in this presidential contest faced with a choice between a career civil servant who has the best interests of our population at heart and a dangerous autocrat who could bring us into unwanted wars. So I think that for any celebrity to not stake out a position in this particular election cycle is irresponsible. I think that everybody who has any voice that anyone listens to for any reason, even if that reason is that they're on a CW show, should use that voice to try to get as many people to vote as possible. So I see it at this juncture as my sort of civic duty to say something. Yes.
So since you followed the Clinton administration since you interned when you were a toddler, what do you think the Clinton strengths are, and what are they going to bring to the next 4 years when Hillary does get elected?
Well, I think the Clinton administration brings a tremendous amount of. They have vast strengths. I mean, they're obviously geniuses. They're both very, very smart people, and that was demonstrated in the first Clinton administration. I think Hillary. I mentioned this in the restaurant there, but Hillary Clinton has demonstrated that she's incredibly hardworking, which is a real asset for in a president. You want that. You want that in a president. But she's also been. I think it was the second debate when Donald Trump said the first debate. I can't remember. They all blend together in one horrific nightmare. But he said that one of her strengths was that she doesn't give up, and I actually think that was the second debate. I actually think that that's true. He had a valid point there. She doesn't give up, and I think that that's a great asset. But I think that another asset that Hillary Clinton has is that she has. This is something that Donald Trump has pointed to as a weakness for her. That she has 30 years experience in government, and she has actually been in the White House for 8 years already. She knows more about how to run the executive branch than anyone who has ever taken a first-term office. She is coming to the job better prepared than anyone in the history of our country, which is pretty remarkable. Not only has she served as a senator, but she served as a first lady for 2 terms, and she served as Secretary of State. She has a really kick-ass resume. Can you imagine, like, you're an employer, you're looking through Monster.com, and you come across a resume that's like, well, I was first lady. for 8 years, Secretary of State, Senator. You're like, yes. What are your salary requirements? Yes, there you go.
Last question.
Last question. Yes, yes, ma'am. You're from Brazil. Okay. So you understand? Sorry, say that again. Oh, you hate Trump. I thought you said you rate Trump. You know, us Brazilians, we love Trump. Yes. You think fighting on social media is stupid?
Ask William Shatner.
Where was? Oh.
For granted.
Welcome to America. Yes, this is the first Twitter presidency, presidential election really. It's the first time that social media has figured so prominently in an election. We did have Twitter 4 years ago, but it wasn't used anywhere near the same level. I like the fact that Donald Trump is on Twitter because it gives us a very easy way to point out how bizarre he is, and it's fodder for some good comic material. But yeah, you know, America, we have an old democracy. Don't forget, our democracy is one of the older ones in the world. And that means that we have a system that probably isn't totally modernized and isn't, fine-tuned to the technologies that we have available now. But it's a system that we work within, so we just have to work hard to make it. Yeah, well, we ask them. We can't mandate that they vote, but we ask them.
Very last question.
All right, last question.
What do you have to say about all the things Trump says is rigged?
Wait, what do I have to say about it? Oh, about the rigging?
What Trump says is rigged. All the things he said are fake, or the phrase he uses for the things that he doesn't like is rigged.
Yeah. I think, honestly, that's, so Trump's been talking a lot about the rigged election. I think that's largely language that someone who thinks they're going to lose uses. I think that if Trump were leading in the polls, he would not be talking about how the election was rigged. So I do think it's just sort of sore loser talk. I think it's irresponsible. I think that he doesn't really understand, he doesn't really have a respect for our democracy, possibly for democracy in general. The fact that he curries the favor of so many autocrats around the world is a strong indication to me that he doesn't really think that highly of democracy itself. But it's dangerous. It's dangerous language for a presidential candidate to be using, and I certainly hope that it doesn't lead to some sort of unrest on or immediately after Election Day. But yeah, it's not rigged. That's my take on the issue. All right, thank you guys. I would love to invite you just to come on inside and sign up to be a volunteer and find out how you can have the greatest impact in this election cycle. Yeah.
17 days left, folks.
Woo!